In a landmark ruling, the Supreme Court says former President Trump cannot be prosecuted for actions taken in an official capacity as president.
But the justices are declining to say if his actions on January 6th fall under that category. In one of the biggest cases of the year over whether presidents can be prosecuted, the Supreme Court dealt Trump a victory in complicated special counsel Jack Smith's election interference case, ruling 6-3 that former presidents are granted broad protections for official acts taken while in office, a decision that Trump celebrated on Truth Social as, quote, a big win for our Constitution and for democracy. Moments ago, President Biden spoke about the decision, saying it undermines the rule of law.
Today's decision almost certainly means that there are virtually no limits on what a president can do. This is a fundamentally new principle, and it's a dangerous precedent, because the power of the office will no longer be constrained by the law, even including the Supreme Court of the United States. The only limits will be self-imposed by the president alone.
The case now heads back to the lower court to decide what actions in Smith's indictment can be classified as official duties.
So what does this mean, and how could this impact the election?
Fox 10's Lauren Clark joining us live now to break this all down. Lauren.
Hey there, Mark and Christina. Well, today's decision comes as the former president is facing federal criminal charges surrounding the 2020 election, what prosecutors say was his attempt to overturn the results and cling to power. Now, following the decision, Republicans are cheering it, Democrats are decrying it, and constitutional law scholars are still trying to parse through its implications and its scope.
It's a new question that's never been thought about before.
ASU law professor Paul Bender underscores the unprecedented nature of today's decision.
Trump was looking for a decision that would say, hey, you're not responsible at all for anything that happened while you were president. He didn't get that. I guess the United States was hoping that they would say there's no immunity from anything and we can treat you just like an ordinary person. They didn't get that either.
Ultimately, the court made a distinction. Chief Justice Roberts, writing on behalf of the conservative majority, concluded the former president is entitled to either absolute or presumptive immunity in official acts. Writing in part, under our system of separated powers, the president may not be prosecuted for executing his core constitutional powers. Adding, the president enjoys no immunity for his unofficial acts, and not everything the president does is official. The president is not above the law. Bender, who has also argued in front of the Supreme Court, points out there are still a lot of technical questions that remain unresolved in this opinion. However, he feels the court is taking the right approach to a novel, complex constitutional question.
The court is reluctant to do that and wants to know that it has all the facts before jumping to a conclusion. So they want to take their time. And that seems to me perfectly appropriate.
But not everyone agrees.
Well, what it says is presidents have a scope of power beyond anything that the framers intended.
Robert J. McWhorter, lawyer and constitutional historian, worries about the decision's implications.
The scope of official acts is not defined, but what they're saying that needs to be done to show it's not an official act is very large and very high.
Now the lower court is faced with parsing through what constitutes an official or private act in Trump's case, a task both scholars agree will be difficult and long.
If it's a monstrous thing, it's going to be full of contentious litigation. It's going to go on for a long period of time.
Yeah, and today's decision notably makes it nearly impossible for the former president's trial to happen before the election. Undoubtedly, there's going to be hearings and appeals surrounding this issue. Now, if Donald Trump does win the election, he could very well have this case dismissed or pardon himself. In the dissenting opinion, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, joined in part with the other two liberal justices on the court, did not mince words, not holding back, saying that this decision was a mockery of the Constitution. She even also said that this, quote, creates a king as well. Reporting live in Phoenix, Lauren Clark, Fox 10 News.